Before we start, you have to realize age has nothing to do with the so-called inner child. As a matter of fact, in our first story tonight, Kevin Quinn profiles a husband and wife team who should be, by all accounts, retired, meaning that their golden years are not being spent holding down a 9-to-5 job. Instead, you guessed it, this couple has discovered the child within, and tonight, they set it free.
When you get on a carousel and you hear the music and all, it just does something to you. You know, at least to me it does. You know, and I think it does to a lot of other people too.
Carousels are very much a part of his life and sort of like a part of his history. So he's the nostalgia buff.
Kenneth Crone grew up on the East Coast, near amusement parks like Coney Island. His wife, Virginia, says his fondest memories are of the sights and sounds of carousels.
Years ago in San Antonio, the Crones found themselves in a gift shop where they were looking at carousels, a miniature of the real thing. It was something that Ken thought was far from perfect.
And Kenneth really gave it a 1-2 and said, you know what? I think I can make that look more authentic and make it out of wood and make it just like the carousels that I was around when I was a kid.
And so began Crone's Supreme Miniature Carousels, established in 1991.
Well, in the very beginning, we decided that in order to keep friction down, that we would divide the company into 2 parts. And I'd be the art department, he'd be the manufacturing department, or the building part. We just decided that if we split it that way, he couldn't tell me what to do and I wouldn't tell him what to do.
So it works out perfect right now because I don't tell her what to do and she tells me what to do.
So who's the boss?
She's been my boss for 30 years.
The couple met and married in Texas. A Navy transfer brought them to the Lemoore Naval Air Station in 1967. In '73, they moved to Clovis, opening a deli and 2 health food stores. After selling them off and moving back to Texas, they made their first carousel. And now they're back in the valley, planting roots in Auberry.
It's very inspiring just to see the mountains below you and the lights at night. It's very peaceful and very, makes you feel creative.
It's a place where characters come to life. The tiger, the giraffe, the elephant. Virginia taught herself how to sculpt them all out of wax, using pictures from this book as a guide. She spent 3 years carving just 12 characters. To duplicate her originals, bronze statues were made, from which rubber molds like this are used to create the actual miniature figurines.
There we go. That's what he looks like.
Huh. But getting to that stage starts here.
Make sure you stir it all up or you'll wind up with some soft spots. And when you pull your mold, its leg will come off.
Well, that's no good.
No good.
The characters are made from a mixture of resin and marble dust, which is poured into the mold. It's ready within 2 hours.
Now, these are too difficult to turn around and pour out, so I'm actually going to put it onto this little press.
It's a contraption Ken built to help her break the mold free.
This is just a standard hydraulic jack. It just makes it easier for me to actually pull the piece.
Oh, got it right out.
Got it right out. And when you open it up,
Look at that.
you can see it as we just pull him out. Here's the piece.
Then, Virginia dremels the horse, shaving off excess molding and cleaning up imperfections.
This is the easy part.
Okay. Is this the fun part?
This is the fun part. Anything that's easy is fun.
She will spend up to a day and a half painting each animal.
So each of these really are unique.
Yes. You could almost call each piece one of a kind because you never know when you start what's going to actually come out.
As Virginia's characters are brought to life, Ken creates their carousel.
You just can't go down to a model store and buy the parts for this. This is made from scratch, from the floor up.
Ken says miniature carousel building was uncharted territory. There were no plans to use as a guide and no templates. So Ken made his own.
And everything has to match. If it doesn't match, we'll never get the carousel to work right.
It has to match perfectly?
Has to match perfectly, yes. If you make a mistake when you're first building this and you say, well, I'm a little bit off here, but nobody will ever see it, it doesn't work. It'll catch you on the end.
Solid ash is cut in a circle for the base.
I love working with wood. There's something about taking a piece of wood that is you know, in its raw state and then making something from it. And they're all different size beams here.
All of these parts are made, put together to eventually look like this. The motor housing is really tiny, less than 8 inches in diameter. It's a maze of electrical wires.
There's over 900 wires in the carousel, and these are wires that no one ever sees.
Those wires provide the juice for the carousel and its 400 lights.
I have to do this to each light to make sure they're all light before I install them, because once they're installed, it'd be very difficult to go back and have to redo it. That's the main gear right here.
This gear drives the carousel and the crankshafts which move the characters.
I bent quite a few of the crankshafts wrong before I got it right. Believe me.
Only imagine.
And it takes a little longer to do it. I just did it quick for you, but there you can see it's a crankshaft.
The miniature even boasts a really tiny stereo system which plays 16 songs from the original carousels.
And we purchased the music from the great-great-granddaughter of Mr. Illians, who used to build the Illians carousels in Coney Island. When it's playing, you can actually hear the paper scrolls in the background.
Like you could on the real
Like you could on the real carousel,
wow.
yeah. It's a little scratchy, but it's authentic.
The designs that I've picked are still all from the different, really most popular carousel carvers, which was Loof and Illians and Denzel. They did fabulous carvings.
But no carousel is ever complete without the canopy. Virginia makes it from wedding silk and gold lame.
It takes some research to do this, and you have to be interested because this is really more a work for something that you do because you love it more than it is just a job.
This miniature merry-go-round took close to a year to make, but for some, it can bring back the memories of a lifetime.
I haven't ever talked to anyone that didn't appreciate the carousel. And when they hear the music and see the lights, you know, their jaw just kind of drops down. And I guess they can remember a lighter time in their life when they were younger, or something about their past, you know, when the world wasn't so complicated back then.
The Crones have created 3 miniature carousels so far, and they're not cheap. The first one sold for a cool $23,000. That was back in 1993. The one you saw tonight goes for $25,000. And get this, it comes complete with its own remote control.